Yo. What is up, everyone? What's up, the Matism? What's up, Dysons? Sydney, how's it going? Excuse me, I was still a little bit sick. So, I'm sorry if this is a little distracting, me blowing my nose on occasion. Yo, Cody. I appreciate you following up. So, stop being sick. So just a heads up. I well, maybe I should hit you up directly instead of talking about this on the stream. But well, trust me, we're not. This isn't something that we're just spacing out on. So, I think part of it is because we're still strategizing on like the timing of the NA tour. So you're also sick, Dysons? Gotcha. Well, let me try to switch gears here. Whenever I get sick, I don't know if any of you guys have small sinus passages too, but my eyes get like really poofy, and so my eyes are a bit watery right now. So I look like I've been crying. But okay, before we get into Feedback Friday stuff, I want to show you guys something real quick. So the first, you want me to bring baby out already? All right, I'll find him. Check it out. This is the anniversary twofold part 1, part 2 double vinyl. It's a bio vinyl, which is kind of cool. So it's made with some like more sustainable material. Not perfect, but anyways, really happy with how these turned out. And so the original artist that made the cover for Twofold Part 1 made this, which ended up, he tried to combine aspects of Part 1 and Part 2 into like a single new design. So that's what you see here. And I just need to get all the logistics ready to go so I can make them available in my online store. But yeah, I went and picked them up yesterday. 500 pounds of records. It's a lot of there's a lot of lifting boxes around. But anyways, I just wanted y'all to see that before we get into things here. Yeah. What is the lore behind Twofold? It's actually pretty it's pretty philosophical in nature. It's just about duality and opposites and the role that these things play in our lives and in the human condition. A lot of like Taoism influence, and just the way that humans see and experience their existence, really. So it's kind of like a philosophical existential project, and I'm pretty proud of it. It sounds, I think it fits the vinyl format quite well. But anyways, let's look at what you guys are sharing with me today. Excuse me. All right. What you guys got for me today? We only got 3 names today so far. Oh, that's right, baby. Okay, thanks for the reminder. Let me put up the BRB screen. I'll grab him real quick. you doing, buddy? All right, he's here, but he's a little freaked out by the weather. It's really windy here. There's some bad weather on the way. But all right, we'll have him here in the stream for today. Let's take a look at what you guys got. It's a small crew today. Only 3 people. Let's roll this bad boy. What's up, Chairbor? Drop the baby lore. All the kitties were freaked out yesterday because there was some crazy winds coming through. All right, what's up, Matism? You are the first. Nice. Have that link ready to go. Oh, wait, are you guys not able to hear that? Give me a second here. How's that? Can you guys hear it now? Definitely have some thoughts on this, but one moment. Cool. So I have a few things that I want to say, and one thing. Listen, you guys know for Feedback Fridays, I often talk about subjectivity of music, and you know, it's an interesting process giving feedback because you know, sometimes giving feedback can be quite easy because I might feel like I've got a good understanding of what you're doing and what your maybe your inspirations are and what kind of songs and genres you might be like drawing inspiration from and emulating, um, and uh, and sometimes when it's not as clear, it becomes much more difficult to give feedback because all you can really offer is your opinion, and opinion-based feedback isn't always that valuable, right? It's like, and what are you gonna do with that? It's like, oh, I like this. It's like, oh, okay, good. Or I don't like this, and it's like, well, okay. You can obviously dive deeper into it and say like, here are the things that I don't like, but um, there's always that subjective element, and I think that it's just risky to jump straight into like assuming what the person is trying to do with their music, and sometimes people just create things for the sake of creating them, and it's not necessarily meant to emulate, or it's just like an exploration or an expression, and all of the above is great. So I just wanted to preface it with that. That being said, like I see some, I think your biggest enemy, Maddism, is mixing. I think that I see some influences from like obviously EDM, but in terms of like your sound selection and stuff. But it doesn't feel like you're leaning that hard into it. I like that. It's kind of yeah. It feels like there's energy, but it's the structure and like a lot of the sound selection and stuff doesn't feel like as aggressive as a lot of the EDM out there. It feels like you're doing your own thing. You're exploring things, and I see even the hashtag practice up there or the genre tag, whatever. But I think mixdowns are your biggest enemy right now. Like the some of the things that could really help you understand why I might mention that, or if you feel like you agree and you're like, yeah, how do I improve mixing? I think that sorry, one moment, I gotta blow my nose again. I'm really sorry, y'all. I'm still a bit sick. But anyways, something that can help a lot is doing A/B referencing. So sometimes, with certain songs that I'm making, if there's a section that feels like, oh, this is definitely drawing inspiration from this artist's song XYZ, I put them side by side and I try to see like how they compare. How do the different frequency ranges compare? How do the mids and the sides and how do the transitions? How does the arrangement compare? And all those things like it's I think that's one of the best ways to learn, especially because like we all have different gear and equipment we're using, and like getting super familiar with your gear, your boom, your headphones, all that is super valuable to help you kind of normalize that and internalize those things. But anyways, yeah, I think like mix wise, a lot of your dynamics feel a little off. You have this like very, very loud sub right off the bat in the song, and the song's so brick walled that by the time we actually get some percussion, it's actually not very impactful because the sub has been so loud by the time that the drums come in. But then on top of that, and compared to the other elements, they do feel like they're not as far forward in the mix as you'd probably want them to be. But take it with a grain of salt. I can tell that you're experimenting and trying different things out, and I think that's great. And really, practice, as they say, practice makes perfect. I don't believe in that necessarily, but I think practice creates progress, is a better way of putting it, in my opinion. There's no such thing as perfection, and you're always striving for the ideal, right? And I think every time you try to create something, you get a little bit closer to that. So I hope you just keep working at it, man. I can see your like where you're going, and what you're experimenting with, and I enjoy it. I just think that the mixing has a way to go. If you're going to prioritize like the listenability, and like kind of package your ideas in a way that makes it a little bit easier to listen to, I think that you will for sure want to do a little bit more, some deeper dives in the mixing. But yeah, anyways, let's roll on to the next person. What's up, Dyson? Yo, thank you, Kirby Slice, for the follow. I appreciate it. Somebody had a... Oh, right, yeah. Happy late birthday, Mattism. Happy late birthday. Cool. Let's check this out. So this is Dyson's AS. Is that short for Adult Swim? Isn't that their branding? Hold on. I'm sorry. I feel like we need to rewind it there briefly just because that text-to-speech popped in there. I'll get to your question in a moment, Matheson. Love it. It's a really cool idea. So trying to think about feedback here because like it doesn't it feels like it's a little bit of an interlude instrumental kind of vibe going. So it also feels like it may not be like completely finished just because the ending is obviously quite kind of abrupt. I mean, you could literally just have if it is a bit of an interlude, then you could literally just have some of the intro play again and then call it a day. It sounds cool. I really like it. I almost feel like maybe the drums are a bit too beefy for the vibe. You know, actually, it's specifically the snare, I think. The kick hats, all that sounds great. Yeah, snare is maybe a little bit like, for my taste, maybe just like a tad too sharp. That transient is it feels like the kind of sound you might hear in something closer to the EDM space. You know, some a little bit of dub or something like that. You'd hear something that aggressive in. But that being said, like, you know, I'm not saying like completely replace the snare or consider replacing the snare with something else. I'm just saying like maybe the transient could just be kind of toned down a little bit. If it's being, distorted, saturated, maybe that could be tamed a little bit, just to kind of just tone it down a notch, I don't know why, but there's this sound in the background that is like, I swear it sounds so much like the sound in Balatro. I don't know if I'm tripping right now because I'm sick, but like I swear it sounds like you sampled like some song from the Balatro OST. But anyways, it's a really cool tune. I honestly don't have anything else to say besides that. I think like this is one of those things where it's like what you have is working. Obviously, it sounds great. It's kind of like fulfilling its purpose from what I could tell, and so really the world is your oyster. If you want this idea to just have this vibe and call it a day, great. I think maybe just tone down that snare a tad, and maybe add an outro, and that's it. But I mean, it's working. It sounds good. It's got a nice vibe. And you can build on that if you want. You can, take people on a deeper journey, or if you want it to just be like just this vibe, this kind of like interlude, instrumental kind of thing, then it works like that too. So thanks for sharing. No sampling, okay, but I don't know if anybody can hear what I'm talking about. I swear I'm hearing like something similar to. There's like this pad in one of the Balatro OSTs that sounds very similar. Okay, anyways, let's roll on to the next person. Thanks for sharing, Dyson's. Really like this tune. Yeah, I feel like you were close to having something finished here. What's up, No Weeks? No Weeks Yeep? I don't know. Mr. Wire. Yes, so let me go back to your question here. Mattism, you were asking about okay, I keep dialing down the sub, but it never goes down. I brought it down negative 20 dB. Okay, so you might just need to keep going, my friend. You might need to just keep going. So you probably have you must have a limiter that's got the gain set to a pretty massive amount. And it can be really difficult to mix a song if you have a limiter that's set to like plus 20 dB, because like small mix changes get exaggerated massively in the mix. So if you're turning down your sub by 20 dB and it's not creating a noticeable difference, you may be better off trying to remix the song and like literally mix, like get everything off of the master and try to start quote unquote from scratch, from a mixing standpoint. Anyways, so this is No Weeks. Let's check this out. See what we got.
Black eyes behind the tree. Every move I know they follow me. Dressed all in white on my own. I'm so done playing hide and seek. Break out of the apathy. You see through my skin and it turns cold. I'm just a ghost.
Nice.
I'm just a ghost. for my day to come. Seeping through the cracks of my own home. I'm so done playing hide and seek. Break out of the apathy. You see through my skin, and it turns cold. I'm just a ghost.
Very cool. I love it. And I feel really stupid because I just realized that your alias is No Week Sleep, not No Weeks Leap. Anyways, I love the idea. I think there is a lot of good stuff happening. I think a lot of the sound selection, the vocals are good. Yeah, I think you're servicing a lot of your decision making is servicing this song quite well. Also, I'm not crying. Your song is very beautiful, but I'm just kind of struggling with a little bit of a cold still. So don't mind me over here if you see me wiping tears off of my eyes. But I think that I do have some ideas, though. I think overall everything is great. A lot of great decision making, a lot of great creative choices. And the song feels like you're very close to a final piece of music here. So some initial thoughts.
Black eyes behind the tree. Every move I know they follow me. Dressed all in white.
So basically, you have this intro that's very moody. You have a lot of a lot of sound design to kind of introduce the key and the vibe and everything, and all that is great. And I actually think this little break here is totally fine. I know you made a comment there, and I like it too. I think that you're taking a little bit of a minimalist approach here with the song, sonically and just compositionally too. So I think with something like that, it can be kind of fun to I think you can get away with little things like this.
I'm just a ghost.
One thing that might be interesting to try is I wonder how a little reverse reverb into that vocal could be, or how that could sound. And this entire section sounds great. I love the entrance with the drums, the sound design here. I think there might be a little bit more room for and some additional sound design flair, but overall everything is working quite well here. So after all this happens, around here you make the choice to kind of like essentially omit the drums that you that enter here at like the 45-second mark. I personally feel like you could continue to have some of that energy driving. Like you kind of. I think it's a big reward for the listener to basically like, to come to this section here at 45 seconds and then to hear this groove. It's really satisfying, and I'm tempted to say that like you should continue to have some kind of rhythmic elements from here continue on into this vocal here. you basically go back into almost the same thing as the previous intro. And I know you say that much here in this comment, but I would consider keep that momentum going. It feels really good to hear that as a listener, and especially because we've already heard this once before in this basically exact iteration here. Hearing this kind of verse, whatever you want to call it, with some of some of these drums here will give like a new kind of light, a new context to these vocals. And I think that's a great way, you're keeping momentum, you're taking something people have already heard and giving it a slightly different spin. It keeps things interesting in that way, I believe. The only downside is if you were to do that, when you go to this section here, all done going, I'm done playing hide and seek. At that point, then you might want to omit the drums here completely, because then you're bringing them back here. I like the drum switch up here. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm struggling a little bit more than I was expecting to. I was feeling quite good this morning, and now, like, I don't know why, I'm just like really starting to feel it again. And like, I'll keep having to blow my nose. And I feel really, like, I feel mentally totally fine, but my body is just, my body feels like it's struggling a little bit. And I hate just like sitting here and just blowing my nose constantly. I feel like it's super distracting. Why don't we listen to like one more song, and if this continues on, I might need to call it a little bit early. I'm sorry, gang. But yeah, anyways, so No Weeks, really dope tune. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's listen to at least one more here. I don't know, I've had such a terrible streaming schedule this week. I shouldn't have taken Tuesday off. I just wanted to take a breather Tuesday, and then I got sick, and then my vinyls arrived, etc., etc. But anyways, we did get a peek at the vinyls. Let me show them to you guys. One sec. Let's listen to one more. I'm going to re-roll here. Here's the vinyl. That's the front. Then we got the back here. Yeah, boy. I'm pretty excited about it. It's the first Haywyre vinyl. So that artwork is done by my boy Patrick. And he is the one that created the Twofold Part 1 art. So shout out to him. What's up, Petrolane? You got something for us to listen to? So yeah, just keep an eye out. I'll have these in an online store pretty soon. I'm going to do a little bit of an email blast. I'll post on socials about it too. I've been going through a phase of like really not wanting to be on social media. So, but I'll definitely be posting about this. Feels great to have this in my hands. Happy Friday, Petro. What you got? Poland. I'm expecting some smooth tunes. Ooh, key change. Nice, man. I actually think this might be my favorite of your submissions so far. I know you've been sending stuff for months, and I like this one quite a bit. It's bringing me back to like that 14, 13, 15 like SoundCloud era. I feel like a lot of this kind of music, it felt like it was like instrumental, like hip hop, R&B. I don't know. Like there's a big demand for that. I feel like for a bit on SoundCloud, and you got like these people like Selection, labels like Selection, really pushing things like that hard. But anyways, I love this. It's a great vibe. I think that I like the key change. I like the sound selection. Definitely feels like it's primed for a vocalist to be on it. I do hear the vocal chops, and I think that adds some of that, the energy a vocalist might bring to it. But to me, it definitely feels like the kind of idea that would benefit greatly from having some kind of top line on it. And honestly, other than that, I don't really have much to say. I feel like, I just like this idea. It's great. Mr. Wire, have you seen the art made by Peter Moorbacher? I have not. Always down to learn. Also, okay, I got to take a quick second to tell you guys about this because I'm super stoked about it. But I was driving yesterday to pick up my vinyls, and I'm really sorry about all the noises, but I was driving to pick up my vinyls, and I was listening to this podcast called Founders, and man, there are some incredibly inspiring stories. It's mostly about entrepreneurs, but so it doesn't always have anything to do with the music industry, but there are some music industry entrepreneurial like success stories in there. It's not so much. I think what I like the most is that he basically the I forget the name of the guy that does the podcast, but he basically does a deep dive on the history and the upbringing of like particularly successful entrepreneurs and their mindsets and the decisions they made during the time that they lived in. Obviously, a lot of them that he covers are still alive. Not all of them though. Like he talks about Ferrero, Michele Ferrero, the Italian inventor of like all these chocolate treats that everybody loves. I had no idea this man invented Ferrero Rocher. However you say it. He invented Tic Tacs. Oh, it's crazy. I didn't know that. He invented Kinder Eggs. Dude, this guy made so many kids' childhoods extremely special. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Did Ferrero make Nutella? I'm pretty sure that was like their first product. Right, dude. Nutella? Are you kidding me? Nutella was like, dude. Nutella is like crack to me. Like you can't leave me in a room with that stuff. And I understand. Like these days, it's probably mass produced in a different way. It's obviously not particularly healthy. It's not meant to be healthy. It was, as far as I understand, it was made as a affordable alternative to chocolate by cutting chocolate with hazelnut. But anyways, I was really inspired by some of those stories, and I just wanted to share that with you guys because there's some incredible people that the owner of Founders that talks about. So I just wanted to share that. But anyways, let's listen to one more track together here. Yes, the same guy that did Tic Tacs, Kinder Eggs. It's crazy. Honestly, what a G. Okay, what one last thing I'll say about him that I thought was kind of awesome. But so supposedly he would take daily walks, and he loved walking at a particular altitude near these hazelnut trees, I guess, so much that they recreated those exact conditions in his office. So as far as I understand, while he was alive, in his office, he literally had a walkway at the same altitude with, the same hazelnut trees and everything for him to be able to just like roam around and ponder and think about what other amazing chocolates to come up with next. But anyways, that's enough about that. Let's listen to one more track here, guys, and then I'm going to call it early. I'm sorry. Just not feeling super hot. What's up, 7BM? You got something for us? Bro, I got hit twice this winter. I was already sick just a few months ago, and now I'm feeling it again. First track in Bitwig. Let's go. Yeah, I never really gave too much time to Bitwig. Let's check this out.
Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark?
Is this a placeholder vocal or?
The sun is dark.
Just curious.
Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark.
Cool. I like it. And I do know the struggle of switching to a new DAW. So, you know, all things considered, first track in a new DAW, I think you're doing great. So some things that you may have already noticed that, let me just try to go top down. One, I'm curious about the vocal because I'm not seeing a vocalist credited, so I don't know if those are your vocals or if it's like, a splice or, a Suno type thing. But if it is Suno, tisk tisk, but also, I don't know, for sketching purposes, I understand. But anyways, not super important. I think that the arrangement is good. You have a good song here overall, compositionally. I think a lot of the sound selection and everything makes sense. It's all kind of in this kind of liquid drum bass-ish kind of space, like a little bit of a pop element with the top line and such. I think one of the first things that I noticed was more so from a mixing standpoint. It feels like the sidechain is a bit too much. Like if you listen to so, I mean, it can be a creative decision to have the sidechain be so intense that it's actually altering the perceived rhythm of the sounds that are being sidechained. One of my favorite examples of that is Massage Situation by Flying Lotus. And I think like that was one of the first songs I heard where to me it felt like it really made it clear that like, oh, that's the sidechain technique is really also it's not just a mixing technique, it's also a creative tool to use in different ways. And from what I'm hearing, I think you might that's not what you're going for though. I'd imagine you'd probably want to reduce the side chaining and keep the rhythm of the bass a little bit more consistent and uninterrupted by the trigger. So that's one thought that came to mind. Yeah, Splice never use AI. Okay, yeah. And listen, I'm not trying to like we gotta do follow up. I'm not trying to like out people. If people come to me with songs that have AI in it, I'm always going to encourage them to just like learn their craft themselves because I love making things from scratch and I love that. So, but either way, you're not using AI, so it's all good. And at the end of the day, it's not like all of us electronic musicians and all modern music relies on technology anyways. Even if you're performing a song purely acoustically, it's not like it's not mixed and mastered on a lot of it is mixed and mastered, if not like the vast majority digitally. Not all of it. I'm sure there's still exceptions there, but yo, thank you Synthra for the sub. But anyways, so that's one thing that came to mind was the sidechain there. I think there is some room to follow up. Yo, listen, dears, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the raid. Dude, I was just about to wrap up this stream. That timing is unfortunate. And I apologize to y'all, just a heads up. Feedback Fridays today. I'm listening to a bunch of music, but I'm feeling quite sick today, so I was gonna wrap it up, but I think with the raid, maybe we'll try to keep going for at least one more song. Thank you for the follow, Oshbang. Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome. No, you didn't arrive too late. I'm just I thought I was doing okay, but feeling a little shitty at the moment. All right, so trying to think of any other feedback. I think that gotta do follow up. Yo, ID, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the follow. I think one of the last things I say is that you have room to elaborate melodically, compositionally, and what you got going here. It feels like a great foundation for a song. I think that it's a good foundation, but there's room for improvement, I think, in terms of the writing, and the composition side of things, because your melody... I know it's something like that. It just feels a little bit it's either underproduced or under composed. One of the two. I think if you're gonna have a melody that sparse and that simple, great. But maybe find other ways to kind of make things a little bit more interesting. Obviously, personally, I would take the approach of making it more melodically, compositionally interesting, just as a piano player, so I'm a little bit biased there. But yeah, I would just kind of expand on that. There's a lot of room to play around with this chord progression. It doesn't have to be that like over the top. I'm just kind of riffing random stuff there to just give you a feeling of like some of the immediate things that come to my mind in terms of trying to elaborate on what's happening here compositionally. And the free boop. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I was thinking when I made this, less is more, and that's totally fair. And you're totally right to think of it in that way. That's just the lens through which I see a lot of music. Is I always think of it first by boiling it down to like on a music theory level and on a piano performance level, like, oh, how would I play that chord progression? What am I hearing? Yeah, so that's just how I see it. So it doesn't have to necessarily be, you don't have to take my advice. Definitely, just my 2 cents. I think there's a little bit room for more exploration there. If it's not from a compositional standpoint, though, I think you could do maybe some more like flush soundscaping and Foley work, just little things, little ear candy, like in a section like this, for example.
Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why?
It's beautiful as is. Don't get me wrong. I would love to hear like little, tiny bit more stuff. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Overall, great foundation, great tune. I think that really just some small mix improvements would help a lot. So thank you for sharing. Your advice is helping me a lot. I hope so. I always, I know I drive this point home maybe too often, but listen, music is subjective. At the end of the day, only you can know what you're going after. So you have to know, do I listen to this fucking random ass dude? Sorry for the swearing. Who's sitting in his studio space and telling me what he does or doesn't like about my song online? I don't know. You don't need to listen to me at all. I don't think I have all the answers or that many answers, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I have something worth sharing. So let's listen to one more person here. What's up, Kirby Slice? What you got for us? Wait, is Kirby Slice a reference to Kimbo Slice? Dude. I remember seeing Kimbo Slice YouTube videos when I was like 14 years old. And all of us were like, oh my God, this man is a monster.
The The organism does not behave like normal life.
That's
It's
binary.
reorganized in response to observation.
Cache.
Neural pathways restructure themselves in real time. It does not merely react. It learns every stimulus, every measure, every attempt to understand it makes it more complex, more efficient, more aware.
That is some evil shit. That's evil. I like it.
Attempts to isolate the specimen have failed. Every containment measure has been anticipated. It is no longer reacting to its environment. It is controlled
Are the vocals sampled from a video game potentially or something?
by random adaptation patterns. The changes are deliberate.
Cool. Lots of good stuff happening here. I think you're definitely capturing a lot of energy. It's kind of classic, kind of aggressive, dark German bass orientated track. I think the arrangement works well. You got a lot of good sound design going on. Mix is sounding pretty good. I think that there's a couple of things that come to my mind. You know, I'm a huge fan, obviously of I do love drum and bass quite a bit. I don't listen to it that much. I do like. It's not my. I wouldn't say it's. I would. Well, I was just thinking about like Noisia and Mephius and like a lot of those people like Vision and style drum and bass with those kind of mix downs, and I feel like it's interesting. I think that you have like a slightly beefier kick drum, for example, compared to some of that type of drum and bass. I'm not saying I necessarily don't like your kind of mixed down approach, but it feels like maybe slightly messier. One thing that's interesting to think about, and I mean, a lot of you producers probably don't need to be reminded of this, but sometimes it helps to think about these things anyways. I mean, like especially in EDM, you know, your drums are of course one of the most important elements. I mean, people are going to be hearing those goddamn samples over and over and over again. So, you know, if you're going to subject people to those sounds that often and that volume, then they need to be pretty carefully crafted and executed. And I think what I'm getting at is that I feel like your kick drum might be taking just a little bit too much space up in the mids. I would try to tone it down a notch. I feel like it's just a tiny bit too much. But a higher level comment I might think about when I'm hearing this track, is the phrasing of your drop. I'm trying to think about what are people going to have stuck in their heads after having listened to this. Obviously, probably first and foremost, like the vibe and the energy. But you do have like a little bit of a bass melodic thing going on here. So let me take a brief look at that again. Yo, Cynthia, thank you so much for all the bits. I don't know what that was for, but much appreciated. Been a while since I've been on stream. Well, here we are. It feels a bit messy to me, and maybe that chaos, I'm sure a lot of that is very intentional. That's what I was trying to get at, Kirby. So, or binary. I think that the phrasing of the sounds and the articulation of the sounds needs to be kind of tightened a little bit more. And again, I don't listen to a ton of drum and bass, but like my reference point is in my mind, like more like Noisia oriented stuff, where a lot of the drops, even with the weirdest sound design, even when things are chaotic and kind of like morphing into one another, it feels like there's this really intense attention to the phrasing, articulation of the bass sounds and the sound design, not just in terms of like the patterns, but also like sonically, like understanding like how these sounds are perceived and how much space they're taking up in different frequency ranges and stuff. And I know it probably sounds like I'm just blabbering about random shit right now, but like my point is definitely more so that like I think that toning down some of the chaos in an effort to prioritize the phrasing of your sound design, really locking that in, I think is where my head's at right now. It might sound a little bit like generic advice. Like sometimes you hear advice and it's like, well, it sounds like you're saying something, but are you really saying anything? I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to get at. So that's probably the biggest thing that stood out to me is maybe like a little bit of a mix, generally speaking, like more of a mix thing, maybe a little bit of a a phrasing articulation thing with the with some of the sound design and the drop, and maybe like toning down the mids and the kick a tad. Maybe, honestly, obviously this is drum and bass, so some reference mixing could probably be helpful to kind of give it that final polish. Obviously you have this is very close to a final, so I think that you're certainly in a place where you can give that a shot. But no other feedback has touched on the chaos of it, so this is really helpful. Great, glad to hear that. Wanted the track to be chaotic, yeah. I think you have incorporated that for sure. But anyways, that's all I got for you, Kirby. And all right, y'all. I apologize. Excuse me. I really wanted to keep streaming, but I don't know, for some reason I'm starting to feel a little bit worse as the day's going on. So I think I'm gonna try to just take a little breather. And I don't want you guys to be listening to me coughing and sneezing and blow my nose. So there's no point in subjecting you guys to all this weird, it's like ASMR torture up in here. I'm just kind of like making terrible sounds in this microphone. I bet that's a thing. There's like Chinese water drop torture, I bet there's ASMR torture out there somewhere. The CIA is torturing people in some room with weird sneezing, coughing sounds. But yeah, anyways, yeah, no, don't worry about it, guys. I'm totally fine. I appreciate the kind words. It's just a cold of some kind or something. So I'll be better soon, and I'll be back on Sunday for a longer stream. I appreciate the kind messages, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. And keep an eye out for the twofold 10-year anniversary vinyl. All right, peace out, y'all. Thank you, guys.